Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, "Every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every..."
Really happened with Snow White. And is there somebody that we can blame? Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot were rarely together. And if they were there, they weren't really communicating, they were taking a picture, and they were just going their separate ways. People were going, what could have happened on this set?
In a move that shocked Hollywood insiders, Disney has just confirmed it will completely reboot Snow White again, essentially erasing Rachel Zegler's version before it even hit theaters. But that's not all. This unprecedented decision comes after one of the most disastrous PR campaigns in recent Disney history. The studio is essentially admitting defeat and starting over with their most iconic princess story. But how did things go so terribly wrong with a film that was supposed to be the jewel in Disney's live-action remake crown? Disney originally pitched Zegler's Snow White as a revolutionary, modern feminist revision of the beloved 1937 classic.
Rachel Zegler, I felt like her acting was okay, her singing was okay, but it was not what was needed for this.
What's truly shocking is the firestorm that erupted when their lead actress began making comments that many viewers interpreted as dismissive and disrespectful toward the original film's legacy. During promotional interviews, Zegler called the prince character irrelevant and described the classic romance as awkward, statements that quickly went viral and sparked widespread debate across every corner of the internet. The backlash wasn't just loud, it was relentless and unprecedented in its intensity. And it gets worse. Social media erupted with criticism as lifelong Disney fans expressed their outrage at what they perceived as an attack on a cherished childhood classic. Hashtags condemning the creative direction trended for weeks, pushing Disney's PR teams into crisis mode. What makes this situation particularly remarkable is that even typically Disney-friendly critics began turning against the project.
Maybe that's why he was down with the mouth acting, but I'm not. I didn't like it. Next, they slapped you with a random song right from the start that had no natural flow or entrance into the film. It was just bam, we're singing, and it came off really cringe.
When the people who have historically defended Disney's decisions start jumping ship, you know something has gone catastrophically wrong behind the scenes. Internal Disney sources revealed that executive leadership was genuinely stunned by the negative reaction. But listen to this. While early test screenings had shown lukewarm responses, nobody predicted the full impact until after the trailer's release. Fan communities, nostalgic viewers, and film analysts quickly united in frustration over the drastic changes to the beloved story. The IMDb rating plummeted to embarrassing levels, signaling that this wasn't just a minor misstep but a fundamental miscalculation of what audiences wanted from a Snow White adaptation. One particularly damaging moment came when Zegler stated, "It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is not saved by the prince. She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be." The situation spiraled from there. While the sentiment might have resonated with some viewers, the delivery and timing were perceived as dismissive of the original's cultural significance. This comment, combined with others during the press tour, created the impression that the production was more interested in deconstructing the classic tale than honoring its legacy. The ego displayed during promotional interviews didn't help matters either. "You won't believe what happened next, in one particularly cringe-worthy moment," Zegler remarked. "At every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see." This self-aggrandizing statement came across as tone-deaf, especially as the controversy was already reaching fever pitch.
Despite my flaws and my cracks, I know in my heart that I will be okay.
Hold it, Rachel, and cut!
Reset it!
Go, baby, that was the take! Hey!
Parents who had grown up with the original Snow White began questioning Disney's creative decisions, wondering why a company built on family-friendly magic was seemingly intent on dismantling its own foundational stories. The financial implications became impossible to ignore as the controversy deepened. Here's where it gets crazy. Merchandise tied to the film reportedly underperformed significantly, with major retailers slashing prices on toys and apparel just weeks after their release. Reports from inside Disney's consumer products division indicated millions in unsold inventory collecting dust in warehouses. For a company that relies heavily on merchandise sales to boost profitability, this represented a substantial financial blow that extended far beyond just potential ticket sales. Behind closed doors, Disney CEO Bob Iger was reportedly in pure panic mode over both the Rachel Zegler backlash and the entire controversy surrounding the movie. And the real bombshell? After returning to lead the company through turbulent times, Iger found himself facing a crisis with one of Disney's most valuable intellectual properties. Leaked documents revealed internal disagreements between Disney's marketing, creative, and public relations departments during the rollout. These misalignments led to inconsistent messaging and a promotional campaign that often contradicted itself, creating further confusion and resentment among the audience they were trying to court. Controversy reached such heights that Disney reportedly canceled all of Zegler's appearances on their media platforms, an extraordinary step that signals just how desperate the studio became to distance itself from the situation. But that's not even the worst part. The studio's once promising star found herself at the center of an internet firestorm, with her media appearances widely interpreted as tone-deaf despite her intentions to promote empowerment. Industry insiders began whispering that she had effectively destroyed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of IP for Disney and potentially damaged her own career trajectory in the process. What made the situation particularly frustrating for Disney was that it came at a time when the company was already facing criticism for its recent wave of live-action remakes. The reason this matters so much is that many of these productions had been met with declining critical and financial success, raising questions about the strategy of revisiting classic animated films in the first place. With the Snow White brand at risk of becoming permanently tarnished, executives believed a carefully executed reboot could redeem the title and reconnect with audiences who once revered it. In a remarkable attempt at damage control, Disney has now announced a complete reboot of Snow White, set to begin production in late 2025 with a theatrical release projected for spring 2027. This is unprecedented. The studio emphasized that this remake would return to the emotional heartbeat and visual language of the original animated classic. This includes restoring beloved characters, musical sequences, and the fairy tale atmosphere that critics said the Zegler version lacked entirely. The decision to launch a new adaptation so soon after the previous one reflects both the urgency and the high stakes Disney faces in rehabilitating this cornerstone property. The new direction represents a complete reversal of creative philosophy. Here's where it gets interesting. While no official cast has been confirmed, unnamed sources close to the production suggest the studio is seeking a lead actress who embodies classic Hollywood elegance with an emphasis on charm, relatability, and vocal talent. Unlike the prior film, this project will reportedly include tighter media training protocols to ensure messaging remains consistent with the film's themes, preventing the kind of promotional misfires that plagued the Zegler version. Perhaps most telling is Disney's decision to involve legacy animators and consultants who worked on previous princess projects. And it's not just for show. These individuals, many of whom shaped the visual and narrative identity of the Renaissance-era films, are being brought in to offer guidance on tone, pacing, and emotional consistency. Disney leadership reportedly believes that reconnecting with the company's artistic roots is essential for rebuilding goodwill with its alienated audience. This move signals a recognition that straying too far from the elements that made their classics beloved can alienate the very fans they're trying to reach. The plot will largely mirror the original, though with carefully considered updates for modern audiences. The shocking reversal is that sources say the forest animals beloved by fans will return with enhanced animation blending practical effects and CGI. The dwarfs will also be reimagined with care, avoiding the controversy of their exclusion or redesign in the Zegler version. This decision comes after significant backlash to reports that the previous production had planned to replace the traditional dwarfs with magical creatures, a change that many fans viewed as unnecessarily revisionist and potentially harmful to representation of little people in film. Music will play a central role once again, with new compositions woven alongside restored classics like Someday My Prince Will Come and Hi Ho. What's truly remarkable is that this musical focus represents another return to Disney's traditional strengths, acknowledging that the songs from the original Snow White remain cultural touchstones that audiences expect to hear in any adaptation. The studio's early press release struck a notably humble tone, acknowledging past missteps without directly naming names. We recognize the importance of honoring the stories that helped build Disney into what it is today, the statement read. This new chapter of Snow White is rooted in that appreciation and in our dedication to telling timeless tales for today's audiences. As work begins behind the scenes, executives are reportedly staying hyper-focused on consistency, cohesion, and emotional resonance. But there's more to the story. Everything from costuming and casting to lighting design and score is being carefully reviewed by multiple departments to ensure alignment with the studio's long-standing values and modern artistic goals. Disney appears aware that no amount of corporate polish can replace genuine storytelling magic, and for Snow White to succeed, it must feel like a return home to the fairy tale that launched their animation empire. The studio is also planning an extensive marketing campaign designed to rebuild trust with skeptical fans. And get this, marketing materials are being planned with a long lead-up, including teaser art, soundtrack previews, and behind-the-scenes documentaries to build anticipation. The studio is also in talks with Disney parks to reintroduce Snow White theming across select attractions in advance of the film's debut, creating a cohesive experience that spans multiple aspects of the Disney empire. As for Rachel Zegler, she has remained mostly silent since the reboot announcement. The real question everyone's asking: once celebrated for her breakout role in West Side Story, the actress now faces an uncertain future with the studio that once positioned her as the face of a major franchise. Industry insiders suggest this controversy has potentially damaged not just her relationship with Disney but her broader career trajectory. Her absence from the new film is expected, though no official statement has been released. Sources say Disney wants to start fresh both on-screen and off, keeping the spotlight on the project rather than on personalities. The entire Snow White saga represents more than just another remake gone wrong. It's a reputational crisis for a studio that once defined the fairy tale genre. And here's the kicker: Disney's decision to essentially start over with one of its cornerstone properties reveals just how severely they misjudged their audience and the emotional connection many have to the original story. The question isn't whether Disney can make another version, it's whether the studio can earn back the trust of an audience still waiting for the magic they once knew. Fan reactions to the reboot announcement have shown cautious optimism across online forums. But wait until you hear this: the announcement has sparked conversations about redemption, legacy, and what it means to return to a story as culturally significant as Snow White. While some remain skeptical after being burned by the previous attempt, others are excited by the prospect of a reset that honors the original. "I just want the magic back," wrote one user. "Give me the songs, the romance, the animation style, the forest. I'll be there on opening night if they do it right this time." Whether this strategy will succeed where the last failed remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Disney is determined not to let Snow White fade under the shadow of this single misstep. This is where it gets serious. This is more than just another remake. It's a reputational restoration effort for a studio that once defined the fairy tale genre. The new version strikes the right balance. It could remind the world why Snow White was the film that started it all. Even Disney's biggest critics agree that if any film can revive the studio's battered image, it's this one. Truth is, the stakes are monumental, not just financially but symbolically. Reimagining Snow White again isn't just a creative decision. It's a referendum on the company's ability to adapt, reflect, and listen to its audience while still honoring its heritage. As one Disney insider put it, this isn't just about saving Snow White, it's about saving what Disney means to people. This controversy serves as a powerful reminder that even the world's most successful entertainment companies aren't immune to catastrophic missteps. And it makes you wonder, what began as a modern take on a classic tale spiraled into a PR nightmare that may have permanently altered how Disney approaches its treasured stories going forward. And while the studio works to rebuild its relationship with fans, the question remains: in trying to modernize its classics, did Disney briefly forget the very magic that made them classics in the first place? Only time will tell if the fairest one of all can reclaim her throne in the hearts of audiences worldwide.